Byron against Team Stack. That is Jake Byron. Here on the left side of the race course, Eli Stack over on the right. Now this is a qualifying session. Juniors, which qualify, set their field based on reaction time. They will race tomorrow. This is going to be their one and only shot at the racetrack today. And hey, racers, just a good heads up. When we make the class calls, when we need you, please be ready and come down and be ready to go when you get here into the lanes. We do have a curfew today. They are going to be running a circle track tonight, so we've got to get done on time. And we don't have a whole lot of time to be sitting around twiddling our thumbs. So just please be ready. We will keep you informed of when we're getting close. And when we give you the call, hustle on down if you would. Be ready to go when you get to the front of the lanes. So the first pair of the second official day, Lucas Oil Drag Racing Series here at Lebanon Valley Dragway. Jacob Byron in the left side, Eli Stack in the right. If you add their ages together and multiply by 4, they're still younger than me. Okay, maybe multiply by 3. Well, we fired the day off with a red light for Jacob. He was leaning on the tree and leaned a little too hard. Comes up on the wrong side as they will dash him down to the 8th mile. The Fink equipment lane here at Lebanon Valley, the left side of the racetrack. Firematic lane, the right side, 1178, 53 miles an hour comes up for Eli. 1204, 53 miles an hour for Jacob. 8 years old, gets to drive a 50-mile-an-hour race car. That's like 5 kinds of awesome. When I was 8 years old, my dad wouldn't let me push the electric lawnmower around the yard. Now, to be fair, most of these kids, I understand, are like pretty good kids, and I was, what's the word I'm looking for? Oh, yeah, not. Now it's James Stack Jr. going to be attacking the left side of the racetrack, and over there in the right lane is Landon Kennedy. As we kick off America's birthday, 4th of July. It's amazing to me. The Junior Drag Racing League is, what, almost 30 years old now, right? And the whole thing started because a kid in New Jersey couldn't catch a football. But his dad had a racetrack. So they folded up a bunch of tubing, took a lawnmower motor, made the first junior dragster. And then you got to have somebody to race, so they made the second junior dragster. Then everybody had to have one. And then drag race mentality took over. Well, if a 5-horse lawnmower motor is good, what if we made one out of billet? Jacked the compression up to 14-1, ran it on alcohol. Yeah, that'd be better. Hey, listen up in the pits. Attention in the pits. Stock Eliminator, come on down. Stock for qualifying session number last. We need you to the staging lanes, please. Stock Eliminator. Your turn. File in behind the juniors, if you would, please. Oh, Stack missed it by a thou. He was 1 thou away from being the number 1 qualifier, 001 red. Ugh. Landon Kennedy has a problem and stops at 60 feet, and stops again at 68 feet, and stops again at 72 feet. 1189, 52 miles an hour. Let me tell you something. These young kids are, 1190 is kind of the standard for them. He goes 001 red, 1189.9. I do not want to mess with James Stack in round number 1. Man, that car is locked. And Kennedy, obviously, with the problem, the thing kind of spit and sputtered and tried to run about 3 times and then finally gave it up. I was going to say gave up the ghost, but we're not going to go back to the ghost of Lebanon Valley. People ask me about that for like the last 2 months, once it was known that I was coming back, if the ghost was going to make a reappearance. But no, if you remember last year, the ghost died. No more ghost. Unless, A, there's a new ghost. And, well, B, since Angela was a big part of the story last year and she's not here, then no ghost. Stock Eliminator, come on. We need you, please. Kendall Willard in the left side. Emma Stadusky in the right side. Because why wouldn't a junior dragster need a monostrut wing? You know the old story, right? because I can. I can't help but look at some of this stuff, and I mean, the cars are awesome, and the kids are great. They definitely remind me of my mom when she would look at me and say, "What? Why would you do that?" It's like, well, Mom, because it's cool. Because it's really cool. 12:36. 46 miles an hour for Kendall Willard. Emma stops the clocks. 14:26 at 44 mphs. McKenna Mason has the spotlight, left lane single here, and I do believe this is going to be the last car in the youngster category. Then we'll go to the midster category, then we'll go to the oldster category, and then we'll go to the stock eliminator category. McKenna jumps a little bit early as well. 040 on the underside of the tree. 1390, 44 miles an hour. A lot of red lights here in round number one. I think the kids over anxious after sitting around all day yesterday and waiting for their opportunity. Looking at the Mill Speed car outside the window. Man, that thing's cool. I like the graphics on the side of that. Ashton Hallis, the driver here in the left lane. That's Amelia Stadulski. Over there on the right side, driving one of those Willard racing machines. I know that everybody is up bright and early watching the juniors understands this, but just in case, there is a speed limit that is age-related for these cars. The older the kids get, the faster they're allowed to go. And you definitely start hearing a whole lot more pop and cackle as we get into the older cars. As we get more compression, higher performance, exotic fuels. You know why they don't allow nitro in the category? Because if there wasn't a rule against it, some parent would go, hey, this will be cool. I'm going to build a Top Fuel Junior. Check out Ashton's car, though. Isn't that cool? I mean, I love the graphics. You look at the side of that thing, and you know you ain't looking at a design for a Tesla. Get gears and mechanical stuff and all kind of good things. Amelia with an 088 reaction time, and that'll put her as the number one qualifier now for the 10 to 12 juniors. 891, the number for Ashton. And that is right on the speed limit for the category, 72 miles an hour, 1197, 53 mphs for Amelia. But when it comes to qualifying, it's all about reaction time. And, well, 2 cars down, and she's the best of the 2. There's a lot more to go. Here comes Lucas Willard. Going to be lined up here on the left side, or the Fink Equipment side of the racetrack. Madison Douglas over on the right. Take a look on Madison's car. I mean, that's like not quite top fuel canopy, but pretty close. .088, the target for the number one qualifier right now, and .025. Lucas Willard steps up to the top. 2 thou on the wrong side is Madison Douglas jumping just a little bit early. Those 2 cars look pretty well matched down the racetrack. 8.904 for Lucas Willard. Limit for the Class 890, and I'm telling you, right there, 908, 71 miles an hour for Madison. And now Ava Maloney already rolled out into the burnout box. And Ryan Schmidt Over on the right side, we got New Hampshire against New Jersey as we race them here in New York. .025 the target now. If you want to be the number one qualifier, you're going to have to be better on the tree than that. I don't think that'll hold up until we get through this qualifying session, but let's find out. Didn't even hold up through that pair. Ryan Schmidt goes 020 on the bulb, and that'll slide him into the number one spot. Ryan, the defending champ here at Lebanon Valley. 9:10, 71 miles an hour. 9:24 at 71 miles an hour for Ava Maloney. But Ryan, by virtue of the 020 reaction time, now sits the number one spot, and it's going to get a little bit more difficult every time somebody goes down the racetrack. Haven Spring. Looks like the Dublin on the side of Haven's car. Over here on the left side and over in the right, that oh so familiar blue Aragona paint scheme of Frankie III. We see Emma in a little bit. Her car is the only family car that's not blue, and you know why? Because she told Daddy, I like purple. And because she's the daughter, she gets whatever she wants. .059 on the bulb for Haven. .089 for Frank III. Down to the stripe they go. 896. 72 miles an hour for Haven. 907 at 71 miles an hour for Frank Aragona. Hey, stock eliminator. Attention in the pits. Stock eliminator. Second call. You need to be in the lanes ready to go, please. Stock eliminator. Second call. For your final qualifying session, come on down. Here comes the Mandalorian. That is Aiden Baker and Madison Schoenberger. How painful do you think it was for the Schoenberger family to build something that's not a six-cylinder? I couldn't swear this is true, but I understand that they lobbied to be able to build a six-cylinder junior dragster because, well, the Schoenbergers love their six-cylinders. .020 is the target for the number one qualifier right now. We've just got a few cars left in the 10 to 12 age range. And then we'll bring out the older kids, the bigger kids, the faster kids. Aiden jumps considerably early, and you saw that red light drop over here on the Fink equipment side of the racetrack. Down to the stripe, 896 at 71 miles an hour, a 920 for Madison, who waited on the green, and then ran 9.2 seconds at 71 miles an hour. And here is J.J. Schoenberger. How long you figure before somebody puts a reverser on a junior car so they don't have to push them back? What do you mean not permitted? I don't believe there's a rule against that. You're going to make me look now. No, you're not. I'm calling your bluff. There's no rule against that. No way, no how, no chance. So final car in category for the 10 to 12. Let's see if he can be better than 20. Huh? Do we get a teen? If we do, we get a new number one qualifier. New at 068. And JJ will take her straight to the stripe at 9:15 and 72 miles an hour. So Schmidt ends up the number one qualifier after the one session here today for the 10 to 12s. And it's time we move on up. Zach Zabella out of Z1 Racing Supplies. Now, I mean, I don't mean to nitpick, but if it's going to be Zach Zabella, isn't that Z2? Cassie Diamond. The peace sign graphics on Cassie's car over there on the right side. Speed limit for these, 7.9 seconds. I do like the dial-in board over here on Zach's car. It says, yay! You could drive the race car today. Yay! It's the 4th of July. Yay! Cassie hits the reaction timer at 001. Come and get you some. And then 803, 78 miles an hour. A 792 for Zach, who jumped a little bit early. But a 001 reaction time, that's going to make it difficult for somebody to take the number one spot away from Cass. Hey, quick reminder, and this goes for competitors, for spectators. Let's keep in mind the social distancing rules and wear your masks if you're in a group. The objective, obviously, is to slow the spread. And it really is kind of a small price to pay. We'd like to get back to normal sooner and not later. All those little things make a difference. So please keep in mind social distancing. If keep a little space between your group and the next group, and wear those masks. Driver in the left lane, I have to apologize. Don't have the information on the driver yet, but we should have that by the time we see that car next. Out of Matt's used parts over there. Danielle Takani. Driver's pretty close in reaction time, about a tenth apart down there in elapsed time. 8 flat, 81 miles an hour. In the left lane, Danielle goes 8-10. 881 MPHs. And here's Jaylee Sosi and Jenna Nichols. Hey, stock eliminator. Attention in the pit. Stockers, final call. Final call. We need you to the lanes, please. Stock eliminator, this is your last call. If you intend to make this qualifier, you need to be in lanes. Jaylee Sosi, the FTI car. Does FTI make junior clutches? Well, you know, Paul Lee probably stick his fingers in that pie as well. They are famous for putting together basically everything between the crankshaft and the drive shaft. An 0-10 reaction time for Jay Lee. That's pretty stout. I mean, no Cassie Diamond, don't get me wrong, but that's not bad. 795, 81 miles an hour for Jay Lee. Jenna goes 793 at 83 miles per hour. And here come the next two. It's going to be William Baker and Sarah Beauchamp. Baker here on the left side. Racer out of New Rochelle. Sarah out of Connecticut over there on the right side. As they both ease their way into the staging beams, you want to be the number one qualifier, you're going to have to be perfect. Because Cassie just put the pressure on everybody right out of the box. 016 ain't bad. Ain't perfect, but it ain't bad. That's the number that comes up for Baker. And then a 797 at 82 miles an hour. 797 also. The elapsed time for Sarah. 82 miles an hour over there on the right side of the race course, but that 195 reaction time had her a little bit behind crossing the stripe. Up next, the aforementioned Emma Aragona. And Kyle Rice. See Frank out in front of his daughter down there. You know what he's telling her back in staging lanes, right? Same thing he told his son, Frank, the third. Did you know Daddy's number one qualifier? Just saying. Just saying. Both drivers jump a little bit on the early side. Actually, Emma is quite a bit early. A 793, 81 miles an hour for Emma, 811 at 80 miles an hour for Kyle. And Cassie Diamond still first car down the racetrack. 001, number one qualifier. And now it's Chris Corey here in the left lane, and I've got another late arrival over there on the right that is not yet in my database, but a couple of cars that literally rolled in this morning and just haven't got all of the paperwork squared away. We'll get that taken care of before we see these cars again tomorrow. .803, 81 miles an hour in a red light for Chris Corey. 789 at 79 miles an hour in a green light for our car over on the Firematic side of the racetrack. And now it's Tori Iacono driving for Bernie's. It is an all-inclusive hot rod shop down in Florida, in the Ocala area, for like anything you need. I mean, you want to buy one, you want to sell one, you want to restore one, you want to resto mod one. They got you handled. Darren Madden over in the right side with that wild flamed job. Oh. Both drivers quick, but Tori 002 red, Darren 013. You talk about taking a crack at that number one spot. Knew they had to be perfect, took a swing. Both of them missed by a little bit, but 7907 for Tori. 914 for Darren. And I do believe this is going to be our final junior car of the morning. And then stock eliminator will be up. Here comes Natalie Mussolino. Let's say the design joint. 082 on the bulb, and that means Cassie gonna make it happen. Eight flat, 82 miles an hour. And Cassie ends up the number one qualifier. Not a huge surprise there after she hit the tree at 001, first car down the racetrack. So we're doing a little touch-up out there around the starting line for our stock eliminator cars. They're getting suited up and ready to go. And, hey, again, just a reminder, and this is for crews, racers, and everyone, protect yourself and others from COVID-19. Wear a mask or cloth face covering so you're not spreading germs when you talk, sneeze, or cough. If you're going to be anywhere near other people, especially within 6 feet, or if you're indoors, face coverings are required when you're talking to a track or NHRA official. Also want to make sure everybody's aware that race control is closed. If you have a question for a race official, either call or text Danny or Dave, and they'll be more than happy to take care of you. Stock Eliminator getting ready to roll out here for their final qualifying session. The next time we see Stockers later on this afternoon, it will be round number 1 of eliminations. Want to welcome everybody as well who tuned in bright and early this morning on D1TV. Thanks for robbing everybody here for making it happen, and a big thanks to MicroStrategies, Anthony Bongiovanni, for making it possible. We had a pretty good audience yesterday on the live stream, expecting even more today as we're going to be hot and heavy into alcohol eliminations, and first round of just about everything is going to happen later on today. And as I mentioned, we are on kind of hustle up status because the circle track is going to be running this afternoon, so we've got to make sure that we get our program finished on time. And racers, your cooperation is greatly appreciated. Just being ready to come when you're called, being ready to go when you get to the front of the lanes. Quick little zip by the tractor, and we'll be into stock eliminator. Super straight. Be ready. We're going to be calling you in shortly. And here we go with Stock Eliminator. If you like cars, you must like Stock Eliminator. There's a rule. Because stock means just that. Combination originally available from the factory, stock parts, stock pieces, stock suspension, 9-inch wide tires. And have at it, boys and girls. Tim Barrett. Victor Ricky going to kick us off. We're going to start with a first-gen Camaro and a latest-gen Camaro. It's like a great-great-grandfather. Great-great-grandfather. You know the old story, right? Without me, there'd be no you. Back in my day, Tim Barrett out of JoJo Builders. That's that 1969 model. Small block car over on the right side, Vic Ricky. That is a 427 powered new gen Copo. Yeah. Really? You back in your day could be 8 years ago if that was back in your day. It's like every picture you take is a picture of your past. It might be 8 seconds in the past, but it's still in the past. 953, 135 miles an hour for Vic. Amazing that Stock Eliminator cars are running numbers like that. 1145, 112 miles an hour for Tim Barrett. The man on point, Eric Merrifield. In the truck, we'll see the Bounding Beagle a little bit later on here in the session, I'm sure. Bob Conway now. In that for sale Boo and Joe Greek. What happened to Joe? How did he end up number 2? Joe Greek is usually the first one in line. When we call stock, he's always up here ready to rock. Both those machines on the racetrack are for sale. If you want to get interested, if you want to get involved, you want to check out a little Stock Eliminator action. 1196, 107 miles an hour. A 305 Malibu, 1196. What did those things run out of the factory? Like 15s, maybe? 1249, 103 miles an hour for the little V6 automatic truck. That's the beauty of stock. You massage and you tweak and you take those stock parts and get everything you can out of them. William Baker and Tom O'Laughlin up next. SS 396s, a pair. Couple of Quadrajet equipped big blocks. 69 Camaro, 68 Chevelle down to the stripe. We got 1111. 4 aces at 113 miles an hour and a 008 reaction time. Baker looks like he's ready for limbs right now. 017 on the bulb ain't bad for Tom. And 1140 at 115, that ain't bad either. Now it's Pat Mole. How about another 69 Camaro? How about another SS 396? 69 Camaro. The I-Automatic, Gary Parker over on the right side. 1977 Camaro, so we got a Gen 1, we got a Gen 2. We've got all the generations of Camaro. $10.96, 118 miles an hour for the left lane. 1146, 93 miles an hour for Parker in the right lane. Here comes the crazy horse. Wow, the Corvette stands up. The Mustang and knocks the tire off when he dropped the clutch. You look at where the engine sits in a Corvette. Those things are not easy to get to do wheel stands. But, man, that thing was up, and, well, then back down because they never go away. They always come back down. 1094, 119 miles an hour comes up for Walker. Constantine goes 1222, 108. What do you want? You're starting to be annoying. You just want him to come see you? Okay, him. Come see Danny. James Gagnon, come see Danny, please. Carl Massafrost, Scott Grove, watch the car in the right lane. Scott is about to dip her into the 9s. The density altitude is a little bit better today. That means the performance is a little bit better today. That means that car is going to run in the 9s today. Oh, come on. Really? 1002 at 130? Scott, I don't need you to make me look stupid. I thought that came out wrong, but no, that made perfect sense. 1002, 130 miles an hour for Gove. Carl Massafra runs 11 flat at 118. I cannot believe Scott did not go in the 9s. Man. Wait, let me double check. Maybe the weather changed more while I wasn't looking. Our density altitude, well, 2,200 feet, so it is sneaking up to where it was yesterday. Water grains are down a little bit, but Barometer's down a little bit. Temperature's right where it needs to be, and here comes the Gold Rush and the Red Rush. I know the Red Rush doesn't quite have the same ring. Over on the right side, Greg Bar's Mania, and that is a Gen 3 Camaro. And here on the left side, the Gen 5, the Gold Rush, 427 factory stock B. How about a perfect reaction time for Greg? Showing off on the starting line, 11:13 on the racetrack at 117, 9:37 at 1:43 for Philip Langford. For those of you that are longtime NHRA aficionados, I just love this. You know, the stock Eliminator cars now, look at those 9-wide tires are running in the 9s. When they're in real hot rod mode, like the factory showdown cars, they'll run in the 7s. When pro stock became a thing, the first ever pro stock race, low ET, was 996. Think about that. Tim Partash in the left side. That's a Gen 4 Camaro. Adam Stang in the right side. And that is a 4-speed Firebird. 400 cubic inch and a 4-speed. Whee! Adam's car, good bite on the starting line. Had the front end up out there. Fun little side-by-side run. 1065 for the Pontiac at 124 miles an hour. Partash goes 1088 at 122 miles an hour. Billy Harper, left. Greg Gay, right. That is a 440 6-pack Dodge Super B. I got to get me one of those. BDR Transport. I never did find out what they transport. I need to find out what they transport. BDR could be bedroom, dining room, restaurant. I don't know. Let me think about that. 1102 at 118 miles an hour for Greg Gay. 1108, 117 miles an hour for Billy Harper. Mike Gianchi. The red Camaro. Mark Callahan. The yellow Camaro. The purple flamed yellow Camaro. E-Automatic SS396. Remember, when it comes to stock, it's horsepower divided into the weight of the car. And since they made a lot of different horsepower 350s and a lot of different horsepower 396s, you can have a 69 Camaro and run it in many a different category. Off the throttle way early down there was Callahan. You see only 74 miles an hour at the stripe and 12:35 elapsed time at 12:13 at 108 for Mike. Now it's Bob Letillier and the 427 Copo, and it's Bob Broadbent, and that is an SS396 375 horse 4-speed car. I got to get me one of them. A stick, big block, high horse 4-speed 69 Camaro. Whee! The LS 427 factory stock B on the left side, the A stick in the right for Bob Broadbent, and here comes the champ. Allison Dahl, Team Portatree. That's the Firebird here on the left side, the number 1 proudly displayed on the side of her car, because last year when they counted up all the points, you know who had more than her? Nobody. She is your reigning Lucas Oil champion. Over on the right side is Eddie Bednaz. That's an SS396 4-speed car as well. So the bad girl over here on the Portatree Firebird. Listen up in the pits. Oh, attention in the pits. Dave Mohn, please report to the scales. And stay there. .015 for the bad girl. 1043 for the bad girl. 126 miles an hour. 1045, 127 for Eddie Bednaz and his clutch car. Now, that's funny. Those of you Division I people, you'll understand this. I just paged Dave Mohn to the scales, and the scales called on the radio immediately and said, no, we don't want him. Team Pagano. Woody Pagano in the Nova over here left side. 1970. The right side is John Bubka. That is a 66 model. There's only one generation difference between those two. They made the cut in 68. The small block clutch car on the right side. The big block automatic car on the left side. Pagano's got the 402-inch Porcupine motor. He goes 1050. Stopping the timers down there at 124 miles an hour, 1173 for Bubka with the 4-speed car. And here comes the Buick, Lenny Williams. That thing's sweet. 455 torque monster for the 1971 Buick. Timmy Gray over on the right side driving one of his dad's cars. And that is a small block 1972 Nova. Tim, just a smidge early on the tree for Thau, and he lights the red bulb, and then goes 11:08 at a $1.16, 11:01 for Lenny Williams. Those cars both in F stock automatic when you factor in horsepower into weight. That'd be a heads-up race if they ran in person. It was a pretty fun little run down to the stripe. This will not be a heads-up race. Check it out. Ron Horinsky on the left side. That is a 1968 Shelby GT 500. I got to get me one of them. Bob Vogel over on the right side. That is a 80 Malibu with a 305K automatic. I mean, no offense to Bob Vogel because his car's cool, but the Shelby's a tick higher on the coolometer, or the coolometer. A tick higher on the wheel stand as well. That big old 428 Cobra Jet is off and flying in the B stock automatic. Taking it down to the stripe, runs 10:39, 125 miles an hour, 1193 at 108 for Vogel. And here comes Mighty Mouse. Here I come to save the day. Keith Sansoni. And Jimmy Daniels over on the right side. Driving for the Barsky and Macbeth folks. Daniels has got him quite a fleet of hot rods at his disposal. Tell you, you got it going on. When your family's in the body and paint business, you know your cars are going to look good. And when you spend your time hanging out at Barton's Engine Shop, you know your cars are going to be fast. And when you're engaged to Brittany, I'm telling you, you just got it all going on. All going on. Wheels up and away they go. As they go boogieing on down the boulevard, 1074, 120 miles an hour for Sansoni. Jimmy goes 1124 at a $1.16. That'll give us just a quick moment here, touching up the bald spots down there. Since these cars all run a 9-wide tire and have a very similar wheelbase, the way they hit the starting line will have a tendency to peel the rubber up and leave some bald spots. Every once in a while, we got to take a second and retouch. Pardon us while we retouch. Hey, quick reminder, if you are not yet a part of the Lucas Oil Contingency Program, I have a question for you. Why not? What are you waiting for? Come on. Stop down and check in with Jeff Kondratik, who is back over here. You guys all know Jeff Kondratik, right? Go to the staging lanes and then go a little bit to the east. You can't miss him. Just look for Kelly's car. And he can get you all hooked up. If you're not part of the program as of yet, this would be a great time to do it. Kondratik is our Division 1 rep, and he will be more than happy to take care of whatever you need. Because he's just a more than happy kind of guy. While we're qualifying here in stock, I want to remind everybody when we get into eliminations later on, P.C. Richard & Son is continuing the perfect pass payout for stock and super stock. The return of the program here for all of our Northeast Division races. And all you got to do is be perfect if you're a round winner. And you run dead on with an egg. You get $200 from P.C. Richard & Son in the form of a gift card if you've got the decal. If you don't have a decal, you'll still get $100. So it is not decal contingent, but you do get paid more for having it. And the decals are available at the Tech Trailer. First one to do it gets the win. If no one claims the award, it'll roll over. And thanks to the folks at P.C. Richard & Son for appliances, TVs, electronics, mattresses. And I can tell you, it's at Vance and Hines in Indianapolis. That may not make sense to you, but it made sense to me. And when I got to Vance and Hines in Indianapolis, there it was. Well, see, I was coming home. We were going to pass in the air. It didn't make any sense. And that was before I knew that everybody used Morgan Lucas Racing as a shipping address in Indianapolis, so I had it sent to Vance and Hines. It made sense, but it worked out. Are you as confused as I am? Here's John Wareheim. Oh, goody. We got cars again. The Olds Cutlass here on the left side. That's Wareheim. Over on the right side, 69 SS396 B automatic Camaro of Bob Moran. That's a big block. That's an automatic. The Porcupine V8 Holly equipped, rated at 375 from the factory. Wheels up and away they go. Remember, red lights do not count in qualifying, so don't sweat that. That's the important thing. 1132, 125 miles an hour. For the Chevy, 1212, 107 miles an hour. For the Oldsmobile. And we got Camaros coming at us one more time. Team Innovative, Jim Farrell. Here in the white Generation 3, that is a 305 powered. 83, it was not exactly the highest horsepower car ever made, but man, there's a ton of them out there. And that is Todd Bednaz. Over in the right side, that is an SS396 D-Stick. I like clutch cars. Listen up in the pits. Attention in the pits. Super Street, your turn. Come on down, please. Super Street to the staging lanes. Look at Bednaz. Bing, bang, boom. He's in high gear already before they go past the 8th mile clocks. Closing in now on the finish line, and he's going to run 1070 at 126 miles an hour, 1167, 112 mphs with a 006 reaction time for Jim Farrell. Reaction time in stock eliminator qualifying really doesn't mean anything, but the driver's got to find his spot on the tree. Talk about all the time the fact that the drivers are practicing, the cars are qualifying. How low can you go against index? At this point in time, they're not racing against each other. The next time we see them on the racetrack, they will be racing against each other. Dialed in, handicap start, and it'll be a whole lot of fun. Here comes Jumpin' Jack Mattias, also known as Flash, out of Bethlehem Auto Sales. Over on the right side is Gene Monahan. In the Formula Firebird, Monahan bumps in the factory stock 427 Chevy Camaro. Jumpin' Jack. Mattias going to outdistance the Firebird headed down the racetrack, a 938 at 141 miles an hour. Gets there first at 1201 at 108 miles an hour for Gene Monahan. Gets there second. That'll bring up the Baloo. Somebody asked yesterday what the Baloo is. It's a bear, isn't it? I thought that's what it was. Mike Farrell. And the Duster. I know what a Duster is. It's a thing that picks up dust. Nope, that's wrong. It's a bear, I'm telling you. I know what a Duster is. I don't know how to work one, but I know what it is. They're in, they're set, they're ready. Actually, a Duster is also a long western coat. Doc Holliday wore one in Tombstone. Down to the stripe, the Duster's going to get there first, 1083 at 120 miles an hour for Mike Farrell. 1157, 113 miles an hour for Bill Pomponi. Now, I'm not going to tell you that this is the coolest Mopar on the planet, but when's the last time that you saw a 1971 Dodge Charger with an air grabber hood? Nick Ryder's been racing this car forever. It's got a 440 tucked under there for motivation. Over on the right side is Gary Walters. That G automatic. It sounds like it's got a flat crank or 180-degree header on it. Just listen to that little shoebox Chevrolet when he winds this thing up. So the big wedge Dodge with a little small block Chevy. And they turn them loose. Ryder gets the jump at this end. And the 440 should outrun the 327, and it does. Flat out to the stripe, 1068 at 123.4 miles an hour. 1125 for Waters at 115 mphs. And now here's Barry Parker. And that is a second-gen 1970 SS396 Camaro. You do not see a whole lot of those things in captivity. Over on the right side is Steve Smith, Team Portatree. Smith in the drag pack Dodge, the factory stock D machine. Brother, oh, the champ. Fun run here, man. That SS396 stands up. There's a couple of those cars running around the country, and they are both really cool and really fast. 979, 136 miles an hour comes up for Smith. He had been kind of battling that car for a while, and looks like they finally got it into submission. A 1016 at 129 miles an hour comes up for the Camaro. Now it's Katie Sapanic in her Chevelle 1972 vintage SS350. And over on the right side is Chris Butcher And that is an H stock automatic, 305 powered Chevrolet. It's final qualifying. We'll set the field after this session, and we'll get ready to race them. We got an H car, we got an I car. Should be pretty close from a performance standpoint. And they are pretty close, headed down the quarter mile, 11:44 at 117. For Butcher, 11:51, 112. For Katie. And now it's Victor Ricky. Here in the Copo on the left side, John Shaw over there on the right. .954, 138 miles an hour comes up for Ricky. John Shaw goes at 989. We got an old school, new school, side-by-side 9-second matchup. That was fun. Let's see what we get this time with Jerry Hatch in the Plum Crazy Duster and Donnie Carroll in the Firebird. Super Street. Need you to the staging lanes, please. Super Street, come on. .1138 Donnie Carroll, 115 miles an hour. 1069 at 122 for Jerry Hatch. And we go back to a couple of classic Chevrolets. El Shaddai. Camaro rolling up over here on the left side. And that beautiful green Nova over there on the right. Dan Lynch and Joe DiMarzo. They pull in ready to go. Be careful, that starting line can be sticky out there. I wouldn't worry about it. I don't think anybody saw that. Except me and probably everybody watching on D1TV. 11:29, 115 miles an hour for Dan Lynch. Joe DiMarzo goes 11:26 in that little heads-up H automatic run. Now here's a couple of cool cars. I mean, you know, if you're into cool cars. George Vignona. That's a Barracuda. That's an A-body, and that's a 440. Really. Jeff LaFleur over on the right side. That's a Gen 2. And that's a small block, 1970 and a half Camaro. There's a reason that it seems like there's 1,006,069 Camaros running around, because they were in production for a year and a half before they did the mid-year model change and brought out the 70 and a half, also known as second generation. The Dodge stands up and is on the chase. Takes it down to the stripe, 1061, 122 at this speed. 1178, 111 miles an hour for Jeff LaFleur. And here comes the Malibu Blues of Tim Stickle. How long has he been racing this thing? I do like the zoom on the trunk lid. And George LaBelle. LaBelle with a 1969 Camaro convertible. I don't know about you, but I wouldn't mind taking that thing to cruise night. Right, just pull in, drop the top, kick back. That is a sweetheart of a classic Chevy over on the right side of the racetrack. It goes 1220 at 106 miles an hour. At 1241 at 105 for Tim Stickles. You like Malibus? We got another Malibu. Here's Howie Smith's Malibu. Now, Howie Smith's stocker is white. Howie Smith's dragster is black. I think he's just a Kodachrome kind of guy. Brian Valentine over on the right side. He's in the gray area. Get it? Howie's cars are black and white, and Brian's in the gray area. Oh, come on. Come on. You wouldn't have thought of that. Valentine. Near perfect on the old reaction timer. Looks like he's comfortable with his spot. Let's see if he's comfortable with the car. Oh, he dropped the nose down there. Did not run it all the way down to the stripe. We end up with a 12.13 at 106 on the left side and a 12.11 at 84 miles an hour on the right. And now it is John Gray, who's got one of the coolest cars on the property, that AA automatic, 396 1969 Chevrolet. And over on the right side is Eric Merrifield. And Eric Merrifield is your number one qualifier. I was talking about his pickup earlier. The pickup's actually the Super Stocker. The Minuteman Missile, factory stock H, is the number one qualifier. But watch John Gray. Let's see if John Gray can dip that baby into the nines. I thought Scott Gove was going in the nines, and he missed it by that much. Let's see if John Gray might be able to get there with his. Fink Equipment side of the racetrack, he goes 9.98. Okay, I knew we were going to get a 9-second big block Camaro. I just had the wrong one. I had the red car instead of the blue car. 1076, 126 miles an hour for Eric Merrifield, who remains the number one qualifier. Matt Lisa now driving Kenny Richards' MT Camaro, and Todd Hoven driving for the Carp folks. That is a Ray Barton Hemi-powered Coronet. I got to get me one of them. One, because it's a Hemi. One, because it's got a Barton motor. And one, because, well, it's got a Barton motor. Did I mention that? Okay, yeah, well, it's that important. 997, 132 miles an hour for Hoven. 1128, 96 miles an hour for Matt Lisa. And here comes the rough and ready Camaro out of Oaks Landscaping. They're one of our bounty sponsors. We're going to be talking about that later in the day when we get into eliminations. If you won the last event, you got a price on your head coming into this event. Larry Pappas, Pontiac, Formula Firebird over on the right side of the racetrack. We got a B car, we got a G car. We got a couple of them hustling down the old quarter-mile stripe. Looks like Larry's off the throttle. Yeah, definitely. 1168, only 85 miles an hour for the Bird. 1121, 117 for Shane Oaks. And that'll bring up 10-5 Perrone, also known as James and Richard Boyle, driving the boiling point. Now we got a G car and an H car, a couple of very similar cars. But remember, it's horsepower divided into weight. I love Perrone, who's got a Hawaiian license plate on the back of it. $11.33, 114 miles an hour for Perrone. Boyle goes 11.32 at $1.15, and as you would kind of expect, a couple of cars that are very similar in design, running very similar in performance down to the quarter-mile stripe. And here comes the taxi, Cade Campolito, the four-door, 350 powered Chevy Caprice. You got to love somebody who would see one of those and go, I got an idea. Let's put mag wheels and stickers on it. Matt Takani over on the right side, the 67 Barracuda, that's a 383. That was like the big bad fish until 1968 when somebody said, will a Hemi fit? And somebody else went, yeah, we can make a Hemi fit. And they did. 1129, 115 miles an hour for the GTS. 1174, 113 miles an hour for Cade and the TAXI. And now it's Tim Fletcher. Timbo for ATI. Mickey Thompson Tires, and over on the right side, Anthony Fetch. I'll never forget the first time I said the name Anthony Fetch. Somebody said, keep an eye on this kid, he's pretty good. And I turned around, and the guy was telling me that was Anthony Bertozzi. I said, yep, if Anthony Bertozzi says you're going to be pretty good, you are. Whee! Fetch stands up his AA automatic. And he'll run 1020 to 128 miles an hour. Tim Fletcher drops the nose, as is family tradition. Goes 1199 at 77.07. Now it's Angelo DiTacco in the Silver Firebird. And it's Bob Moran in the SS396 69 Camaro. We're working our way down towards the end of this final qualifying session, and that means Super Street. Attention in the pits. Super Street, final call. You should be in the lanes. 1076 at 107 for Angelo. 1042 at 126. Over there on the Firematic side of the racetrack, and now it's Joe Lisa and Ron Infantino. These two guys have done this a time or two. Couple of regulars in this part of the world, couple of classic Chevrolets. The Menacing, all black, 68 model, and the Hugger Orange, 69. $11.25, 86 miles an hour for Lisa off the throttle. $11.23, 115 miles an hour for Infantino. And here comes the other four-door Chevy, the Caprice, lined up here on the left side. I tell you, that's almost like a couple of family cruisers, right? Sean Conway in the Malibu wagon and Mike Eprick in the four-door Caprice. Somebody said yesterday that was a former police car, but I didn't think they made the police cars with the 265. That was usually the fleet car. Maybe it was a detective's car. What do I know? 1279, 104 miles an hour for Eprick. Conway goes 1270 at 104 miles an hour. And this is going to be the final car in category. Joe Santangelo. Joe's going to go for wheel stand of the day here. He is driving Anthony Bertozzi's car. Anthony will let just about anybody drive this car. And I'll never forget, I talked to Anthony one time, and I said, hey, man, you let anybody drive that car, right? And he goes, yeah, pretty much. I said, how about me? And he said, nah. I said, why? You let everybody else drive it? And he said, well, you got no ability, no talent, and you ain't getting near it. I'm like, man, that was kind of harsh. Didn't say it was wrong. I just said it was harsh. Whee! I got to get me one of them. One time. Okay, 2 times. The problem is Anthony knows if he let me drive it one time, I would keep driving it. Like out the gate, down the road, I would never come back. Santangelo, 1064, 96 miles an hour, and we will print the ladders and get set for round number 1. Merrifield ends up number 1, Weber 2, Matt Lisa